With unmatched air superiority and a high damage output, Pharah is a queen of the flanking role. Extremely strong against defensive positions and with an ultimate that can make an enemy team crumble, her presence will have your enemies scanning the skies for fear of a sneak attack. Although Pharah's offense is relatively basic, her ability to move above and around enemy positions grants her offensive capabilities that no other hero in the game can match. She's a capable fighter whose rocket launcher will feel very familiar in the hands of arena shooter veterans. Played best as a force of pressure and disruption rather than outright damage, she excels when able to attack a well-entrenched defense at range, chipping away at shields and turrets from afar to distract the enemy while the rest of your team gains ground. Pharah's rocket launcher may be extremely straightforward, but it's also extremely effective. Firing rockets that deal a hefty 120 damage with a direct hit, a single well-placed shot into an enemy group can make a team scatter. While you cannot get a critical headshot with the rocket launcher, it does have a few major advantages over many other projectiles. First, the rocket does not have damage drop-off over distance like the majority of projectiles in Overwatch, so using them to poke at range is a great strategy. Second, since it's an explosive, you've got a blast radius to deal damage, so direct hits are not necessary. At the outer range of this blast radius, you'll only deal a small amount of damage, about 15 to 20, but you can still hit for 120 if your rocket lands at the opponent's feet. Concussive Blast is a very interesting tool in Pharah's arsenal. While it deals no damage, it is great to clear off capture points or, to your great pleasure, knock enemies off cliff edges for quick, effective kills. The amount of knockback caused by the blast is substantial, enough to get enemies off of a point or payload for just that extra moment you may need for backup to arrive. Don't be afraid to use it when in tight quarters or to get out of danger as well, as the knockback affects both your opponent and yourself, creating quick space to get you out of the deadly rage of a Roadhog or a Reaper, for example. Jump Jet is the core of Pharah's gameplay, launching her high up into the air to either traverse high rooftops or to simply begin an aerial assault. This ability has a hefty 10-second cooldown, so you won't be able to always be airborne. However, Pharah can activate a jetpack by holding either jump or her secondary fire, giving her extra time in the air. When using her jetpack, be sure to flutter the jets rather than use them all at once, as this will give you more maneuverability as well as longer airtime. Barrage, when properly used, is one of the most devastating offensive ultimates in Overwatch. Pharah launches an enormous salvo of mini-rockets, devastating anyone unfortunate enough to be in her sights. This ultimate is almost powerful enough to take out a Reinhardt shield on its own. The trick to effective use of this ultimate is figuring out the perfect range to activate it from. Too close and you might end up killing yourself. Too far and the rockets will spread out and lose their effectiveness a bit. Pharah is also a sitting duck while using this move, easy prey for a sniper. When it comes down to it, Pharah is a pretty basic hero. Aerial rocket support with explosive damage potential. Basic should not be taken to mean ineffective, however. A good Pharah can single-handedly pressure a group of opponents to retreat, or force enemies to hold their ground rather than advance towards an objective. Since Pharah's rockets have pinpoint accuracy, she is fantastic at taking out turrets at range. You should be able to take out either a Bastion or Torbjorn turret with about 3 rockets. She is also great at pressuring a Reinhardt or a Winston into staying in place to guard their team, as the threat of splash damage from rockets will keep everyone behind their shields. The most difficult aspects of Pharah's game are mastering effective use of her flight, learning to lead your shots, and getting the most out of her barrage. Her rockets travel slow, slower than you'd imagine, so leading her shots is a skill that you'll definitely need a bit of practice with, especially in flight. You'll realize this pretty quickly when you're trying to fire down at a group that's capturing a point below you, but they all keep moving just fast enough to barely get scratched by your rocket's splash damage. Once you have the height advantage after using Jump Jet, do your best to stay in the air for as long as you possibly can. Jump Jet's long cooldown combined with Pharah's relatively low fuel reserves for her jetpack means that she'll have to come down to Earth eventually, at which point she becomes a pretty soft target. Pharah excels in tall corridors or open areas where her height advantage can be fully utilized. A good enemy sniper can take her out quickly if she hovers in place for too long though, so be sure to stay a moving target. Small rooms and close quarters are Pharah's Achilles heel. Not only does the low rate of fire of her rocket launcher mean that she'll have few chances to defend herself at this range, but if she does manage to hit a rocket on the enemy, she'll likely damage or even kill herself with it. Again, practice leading Pharah's shots and take some time to learn where and how Pharah can access areas of each level that other characters may have difficulty reaching. Pharah is okay on the ground, but she becomes truly one of a kind when taking to the air. Whether simply as a distraction, as pressure on a defense, or as a spearhead to your offense, Pharah's presence in the skies can be vital to your team's success.